Gentlemen, start your engine!
The theme is set. The stage is set. It's Halloween week. And here tonight at a foggy Martinsville, we're going to decide our final four for the playoffs. Live here tonight, Martinsville Speedway, short track racing at its best. The round of 8 about to conclude for the Chapman Cup Series, live on V-Speed. It's the Chapman Environmental Services 125. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Alex Gagnon all season long. Camera packs provided by Dougie Beard. Alex, we have a lot to unpack. There's some things that go on in this series, in this session. There's been some changes and penalties from post-race at Talladega. And finally, Trevor Keith can call himself a winner.
Yeah, and the way that I don't know if anyone's super excited to say, but that is the case. We heard over the past couple days that due to on that final restart, Kevin Orlando Jr. hit with a lane change violation, and he went on to win that race, but that would have put him to the end of the line, which effectively DQ'd his effort at Talladega, or at least set him back in the field a bit, which means Trevor Keith officially marked here as the winner of that race. He's punched his ticket inadvertently to the championship 4, and that puts us now in a situation where we really have 4 drivers really in the hunt for 2 spots here tonight, going to try to make that charge the Phoenix. It's gonna be dicey. Everyone's gonna be trying to get up there and get those last couple points, and of those 4 guys, if my eyes don't mistake me, they qualified 1, 2, 3, 4 of the guys who are on that cut line.
Yeah, you are correct. We have Carter Lynch, Jeremy Burns, Dakota Floyd, and Tyler Harrison on the front 2 rows. So that's exactly how this is spanning out. And with a smaller car count here tonight, we have 20 cars on the racetrack here this evening. That's going to make it interesting because there's not a big gap. If one of those guys have a problem, they could still salvage the day in 10th spot. So, Martinsville is going to put on a great show. Race analysis coming up on your screen. It's going to be 250 laps here today, 35 miles per hour on the pit road speed limit. Tire sets available at 5, stage at lap 65, and of course on the iRacing fixed setup. We're going to try to scope out the grid as quickly as we can here. We're a little bit behind here. We're trying to get things gathered up information-wise, but here it is for the top spot Carter Lentz with an 18.906. He will be your Coastal Financial Pole Award. Tyler Harrison starting in second, as we mentioned before. Jeremy Burns and Dakota Floyd. As we get set to go green, the pace car's pulling off. Here we go for another week. The final race of the round of 8. Live here from Martinsville. Here we go for the Chapman Cup Series. Second to last. So there you go. Carter Lentz out to a lead right out of the gate, but this racetrack going to be bump and run. They tucked in on the inside, make it impossible for that guy to get around you, and he's going to sit there and wait for lap after lap. Patiently, right?
You got to. This is a track all about, being patient until you do not have a choice anymore. You're going to end up getting physical tonight inadvertently. There's just not enough room on the racetrack to not have, the occasional bump into someone else here. The matter is keeping all the fenders on the race car if you can help it, and keeping cool under that helmet, and making sure, you don't let the road rage of constantly being stuck in short track traffic tonight really start to get under your skin. It's going to be a level head is going to be needed to make your way through the field here tonight and work your way up to the front. And that's what we're seeing a little bit right now in that battle for 5th. Michael Gall to the inside of Rob Rader in the turn 1. He's been working on it the past couple laps, trying to find his way past the 53. Rader, though, already locked in that championship 4, so while he wants a good run here tonight, he is probably not nearly as stressed as those 4 cars in front of him.
53 falls back to where he started, Kevin Orlando, and that's something we didn't get a chance to talk about in the pre-race. Lane changing before the start-finish line. This guy has 3 wins that he has lost due to penalties. It's all truly elusive staggering for him. Yeah.
It's, once, that's, a one-off. Twice, that's a bit of a coincidence. 3 times, I don't know, that might be something supernatural at work there. That's brutal for the 27, and he's going to try to, avenge that almost win last week at Talladega here tonight. Right now, running in that 7th spot, but man, I can't even imagine what the headspace has got to be after having that happen for a 3rd time.
Well, you hear drivers talk about getting the monkey off their back. That's always a phrase we hear when drivers finally get a victory. There's quite literally a monkey on his back every week that he's up front at the final lap, and it just seems too surreal and, like you said, supernatural for something like that to continuously happen. I don't know what he did in the past life.
Yeah, I will say, you mentioned this monkey on his back. I think it might be the first monkey on someone's back we've seen with MMA training, the way he's got a chokehold on his running at the moment. But hopefully, that'll break here pretty soon, because he's got the ability to get in the victory lane. We've seen it, in this series over the past few years. Getting to the checkered flag first is not necessarily the problem. It's doing so in a way that'll count in the record books is the bigger question. Up front, though, Carter Lentz, Tyler Harrison, 1-2 is the 66. Comes into tonight just a couple points above that line. Harrison just a couple points below it. A win here is going to be able to punch your ticket to that championship 4. And getting some stage points here, certainly not going to hurt either.
With the cut line being all within that 8-point gap there for everything, we're talking about stage points are very important here tonight. And drivers that aren't locked in on anything points alone at all. That made it so tight. And you could even have, Nick Alves come up here out of nowhere. This race is known for attrition as well, so the 24 could absolutely come up here and sneak away a win with a strategy or, brawl speed at the very end. Some of these guys, they like to run kind of a short run stint, and they don't have much left for, a long run pace. But you put some guy like that in second position with 10 laps to go, he's just gonna clock qualifying laps on repeat. and show these guys how to get around this place.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I mean, you don't fluke your way into the round of 8. You need to have some pace. You need to be able to consistently put yourself in a position to win, or at least rattle off some top 5s and top 10s. And that's what these guys have been able to do. We'll keep an eye on the points kind of as they progress tonight, particularly after the stage. We'll kind of give you an update on how everyone has settled in. But right now, everyone, I think,
it's
doing
quiet.
the exact same thing. They're settling in. They know this is a long race, and I think right now they're just trying to get a sense of how the car is going to handle. And, you know, everyone, I think, kind of content to just start ticking some laps away here and work on their own car.
Celebrating the 5th Super on Alive, Thea Silva. Thank you very much. And I think at this point, you've earned it. Here we go, from second position on board with Tyler Harrison. And we need to talk to Tyler. He hasn't been driving with the camera on as of late. We need a live stream. I don't know if it was taken away from his frame rate or what was going on exactly. But we've had him post-race interview. And I don't really know the metric here, but 2 laps at Martinsville is not long enough for me to even say his name. So $1.99, that's just, yeah, we'll ride all the way around here.
Yeah, we'll be here for a couple laps. I mean, maybe we'll treat it for, 1.99, I'll say 1.99 miles. That might make it like 4 laps or so, which still will fly by. It'll be barely over a minute when this thing's said and done, because these guys are clocking in laps under the 20-second mark right now, so they are moving.
And if you're wondering, Jeremy Burns, he's also in that kind of warning area based off of the performance he had last week, and then the situation where he had to leave early for the collegiate esports and the eNASCAR, I believe it was the Clash at the Beach. And so 8 points above that cut mark. He's got to have a solid day. He doesn't have to go out and win this thing, but he does need to perform and stay in this top 10, especially during this stage.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go out to win the thing, but it certainly would help his efforts to get to the championship 4. After a dominating season that was, this round has not been overly kind. Obviously, the early exit at Las Vegas put him 22nd. And then a 13th place run last week at Talladega. And the only other top 5s he's had in the playoffs outside of a second at Darlington to open the round was a 5th at New Hampshire, and then winning the Roval to move on to the round of 8. So, you know, not that he's had a bad playoffs, but compared to his regular season, it certainly feels like it's been a slight jump back. And he's trying to find some of that speed that he had in the early part of the season. Right now in 4th, exactly where he qualified, and I think more than happy to kind of spend some laps here behind these guys. He's battling in points, get a sense of what they're doing with their race car, seeing how he can potentially set some stuff up for later in the race. Although I have no doubt 3 cars in front of him thinking the exact same thing right now. It's very much a feeling out process, kind of like the opening round of a boxing match. You know, there'll be probably a couple of punches thrown, but nothing too crazy to kind of get a sense of what everyone's got under the hood here tonight.
Well, good news. They're a 10th of the way through this thing. And clean and green. Lap 27 coming up. Carter Lenz has led every single one of them from the pole. And not much has changed in this top 10. 1 or 2 spots, and really just 1 or spot down or 1 spot up for these drivers. Dakota Floyd running in the 3rd spot ahead of Jeremy Burns. Floyd, another one of those drivers that needs to perform, but with this small field, it's not helping. He's got 2 of the guys that he needs to beat in front of him right now.
Yeah, everyone kind of in that same boat where they all qualified well, which means if they were to hold these positions, the stage points would almost, keyword is almost, would almost negate each other out. It would not be a huge difference between them. But every point's going to matter here tonight when that cut line's only separated by 4 points. So we'll jump on board there briefly with the 57. And now off the back bumper of Carter Lenz, Tyler Harrison's there, starting to put a little bit of pressure on the back bumper going into 3. And
I think he was leaning on him.
Yeah, I think Harrison, maybe this is the point where he's starting to think about time to get moving, because he is right there.
Halfway to that stage break, pretty much, and keeping the pressure on the back end of Lynn's. You can see the brake rotors glow. A very foggy day here. Overcast, 66 degrees. That's pretty much what it was in real life, I think, when they came here on Sunday.
Yeah, it was not a particularly warm track, here tonight. I mean, you'll find a little bit of extra grip in those tires. They won't be so slick that they're just moving around on ace skates. And, you know, we're 30 laps away, or 30 laps in, I should say, and, you know, haven't had a ton of huge movers through the field, but one guy who is starting to make a little bit of forward headway there, Bradley, is the 77 of Grant Thorpe. He's gone from 17th up to 13th here. And still a ways to go to really get into the top 10, but he is by far the car who has made up the most positions on the racetrack through the opening 32.
Watching there on the blimp camera, nice overview look of Martinsville Speedway. And it looked like there were some issues back here around Trevor Erhardt and Kyle Stewart. I'm not sure if Stewart got into the wall, but a spot or two lost and a spot or two gained. Now going back to it, the 10 car gets to the inside. Doesn't look like there's any damage on it, so maybe just lock it up. We see that a lot here, trying to get into the entries of these corners. Very easy to slide the tires, especially when someone's on the back bumper.
That it is. We also just got a little bit of shuffle here in the top 5. Rob Rader going the war with Michael Call for that 5th spot. Call had it for the majority of the opening of the race here. Rader had it back temporarily, now to the back bumper. Call's got that spot. Rader a little over under to the inside maybe in the 1. Closest battle in the top 5 right now. It's this battle for 5th. Michael Call to the outside. Rob Rader trying to hang to the inside, just not quite able to stay there on the back straightaway. Really drove it in deep that time though. He's got that spot and more.
Back to 5th position, up 1 spot. Michael Call down to 6th. There's Kevin Orlando on the move as well, up 1 position in 7th. Justice Murphy, Trevor Keith. And Trevor Keith's on cruise control here tonight. He has no worries after the news he got from Talladega. And I believe the term was used, the team lawyers were all in protest about that lane change. I wonder if any of them were working for Trevor Keith.
Well, whether they were or not, certainly the benefactor of, as you see, he is focused right now, running in that 9th spot, and just trying to reach the back bumper of Justice Murphy here. A little bit easier said than done, as this field is spread out just a hair.
It's about 4.5 seconds back to 10th position. So we ride on board telemetry. These cars barely getting above 100 miles per hour before they hit the brakes. 120. And backing those corners up progressively, trying to arc the car down to these rumble strips. Watch the onboard here with the number 15. You want to keep it as low as you can. This is not a racetrack where you want to try to double dime in the corners. You can get a late apex here if you come in that midline, but that will probably wear in around lap 125. I don't think that that's really utilized right now. The hard part about this place is that curb you see on the left-hand side is higher than the rest of the racetrack. So you run those left side tires up over top of that, you're going to bounce to the outside line and lose all that momentum. And that's how we see a lot of drivers lose position here, especially early.
Yeah, and you know, Martinsville, one of those racetracks, not particularly easy to gain track position, very easy to give it away if you have a bad corner when you've got some cars all in this vicinity. Because we're seeing some cars start to stack up here a little bit behind Kevin Orlando Jr. 7th on back to 11th, back to Justin Ritchie there. All kind of brought back together. And something else I've been keeping my eye on is you saw a little bit of contact there. Justice Murphy, Kevin Orlando. The 12 looking like he's trying to get up to 7th here. He's done waiting for the 27 to get moving.
Give him a little shot there. We'll back this up on our V-Speed instant replay and show you what that looked like. It's just a little bump.
Yeah, nothing too crazy, but, you know, enough to really get the message across, I'd say. And one more look at it from the bumper cam. Nice little tap. And speaking of bumper cams right now, battle for the lead's picked up again a little bit. Linz is under pressure from Harrison as they're starting to work their way toward lap traffic. They're probably about 10 laps or so, and maybe not even, from reaching Daniel Holloway at the rate they're going. So that could be a pivotal moment in this battle for the lead and the battle for the stage win, which is coming up in not too much time either. Linz has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. Harrison, though, has been lockstep with him as he goes high a little bit. Floyd thought about trying to get in there for a second. Just a little too far back to make the dive.
18 laps left in stage number 1. And it's been within 0.4 of a second for this top 4. All 4 of these drivers, again, in that warning area for the cutoff line or needing enough points to make the final 4. Do you think these guys maybe hit a practice session or two before they came here tonight?
I think you've got to, especially knowing what was on the line here tonight, and especially how much tighter that point line got after the news of the 27 having that win strip and the 15 inheriting it from the second spot. And that puts now a lot of pressure on these guys in the top 4 to perform here tonight to keep their season alive, per se, if they want to go pick up a championship here this year, potentially try to dethrone Rob Rader at Phoenix next week. So we're on board here with Jeremy Burns, who's ever so slightly losing touch with the top 3 here, Bradley.
Not by much, and I think it might be by design. Right now, he's in a situation where he could pass one of these guys on pit road. If he executes during this stage, you know we're all going to come down and get 4 tires. I think he's more focused on, okay, I'm going to keep the fenders on this thing, and then we come down to the pit. Maybe you make a gutsy call. I don't know. We've seen it a couple times this season, and Dakota Floyd notorious for showing that hand too early. I don't know what the right call is here in the stage 1.
Well, I think the big thing for Floyd is a lot of times whenever he pulled that strategy out, quote, too early, it's because he had no track position, and that was able to give him some that he could defend versus having to try to go out there and get it. He has that track position tonight. Just a matter of how he's going to, you know, execute to try to get those 2 more spots in his case. You see now Carter Lynn's going to try to work through lap traffic. He's caught Daniel Holloway. Holloway runs that middle lane, the 66 to the inside. Looks like Linz is going to be able to clear him here. Harrison going to try to follow him through. And now that we're catching some lap traffic here, this is where things start to get interesting up front. Because all of a sudden, you know, there's a lot more to consider when you're running in these top 2, 3, 4 cars, trying to work your way through traffic again for the first time all night.
Yeah, it's definitely going to interfere with these guys kind of according it back together. And if one of these guys doesn't navigate around that lap car in a timely fashion, they could lose touch. Floyd able to make the move there off of turn 4. I was kind of leery on if he was going to be able to hold that thing. When you come out on the bottom here at Martinsville, this car gets very sideways.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much power in the back wheels that you want to get onto the throttle when you get off the corner here, but there's, you know, with the way the speeds are going here, you know, overdoing the throttle, especially on tires now that have run 57 laps consecutively, you can see how bright the brake rotors were glowing when we were on the outside shot. They're starting to get a little bit of wear and tear. You can't just slam that throttle to the floor, otherwise you are going to be in tough shape. So you really got to be mindful. Is everything getting stacked up just a hair behind Trevor Erhardt right now? Harrison going to try to capitalize here. He is back to the back bumper. Dakota Floyd now making this a 3-car battle for the lead as well.
The situation doesn't warrant, as you see Harrison starting to work that late apex I was talking about. Trying to get the run. Sometimes you can set it up to the outside. He's going to peak low. He's actually coming out a little bit higher, trying to come off flat and straight on the corner, but that's hurting him.
Yeah, trying to play around with the line a little bit. Oh, bit of a
contact.
Tap. Yeah, bit of a tap the lids, and now that opens the door for Floyd.
And that's not what you want to see Harrison probably getting a little frustrated that Lenz hasn't made this pass on the 41, but Dakota Floyd's loving it. We're side by side. If Lenz can get clear of Erhardt, he might pull away from this. These guys going to battle side by side for another lap.
I think the problem is Lenz has got really nowhere to go because Erhardt is right behind Kyle Stewart at the moment. So everything getting a little stacked up there, but no one in second or third can capitalize because they're busy duking it out between each other. Floyd's got the inside, Harrison up high, only a couple laps to go before the stage. And that point could be incredibly valuable to these two. Both of them were the ones who came into tonight -4. So one of them will have the advantage over the other at the end of this stage. Just a matter of who's going to grab that second spot.
Lenz, of course, above that cutoff mark. Burns in a better spot. And it's going to be tight. I don't even know if you could crunch those numbers quick enough. Harrison going to lose the position. And he makes contact with the 10. He's going to try to go back on offense. 2 to go at the stripe. Oh, this is going to get good. I think we're going to see somebody move someone.
It's certainly a possibility. Floyd is around Harrison for second. He's about a car length and a half back of the 66 here. Try driving it in a little deep into 3. Lynn's able to get away, and here we go. One more lap here in the opening stage of tonight's race. Carter Lynn's trying to hold on for that stage win and the big 10 points that come with it.
This will be great for him and help alleviate a little bit of the anxiety of racing here at Martinsville. But the top 4 trying to get into the final 4. Checkered flag stage winner Carter Lynn's in the 66 on lap 66. So there you go. Look at all of the top 8 drivers and points that are in this list. Top 5. I mean, Raider, of course, locked in. Keith locked in.
And I have some points updates here. Now that the stage is complete, how things sit as everyone making their way to pit road. That line just got slightly further away for the 57 of Dakota Floyd and the 45 of Tyler Harrison, despite finishing second and third, because the guy they were chasing was Lynn's. Lynn's now sitting at +5, Floyd at -5, and Harrison at -6. But very notably, Jeremy Burns at +8 has slipped now to a +6 as well. So those, the line got a little bit further from the haves to the have-nots, but the overall picture did crunch in a little bit.
I'm not really sure how Parker Johnson's getting service to that car.
There was a crisp 3 wheels in that box, and certainly not a 4th. iRacing, though, giving it to him. And he had a pretty good stop. He got out in front of a couple of guys he was chasing.
Well, yeah, they forgot to change one tire.
or we're not legally allowed to. Who knows? Boy, that'd be a terrifying situation as a tire changer. You're sitting out there literally in the middle of pit road at a place where pit road is not that wide.
Yeah, not at Martinsville. Wouldn't do it.
Nope.
Fire me.
Especially if they're going to be coming in that sideways. But he's also pitting on the bend, so it's a little easier said than done to fully get it into the box when you're already coming in at an angle.
Well, there you have it. Carter Lynn's wraps it up here in stage number 1. Dakota Floyd, Tyler Harrison, and Jeremy Burns still your top 4. We're going to take a quick commercial break here on V-Speed. When we come back, stage number 2, the Chapman Cup Series. Back with more right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And My goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years.
At the risk of getting fired from Racing Revolution, we're back. Carter Lenz, quick caution here. And 65 with John Fike. Outside, 3 wide. He's going to try to get the wave-by position here, but you saw it there on the quick replay. We'll go back and look at the session event, but the 65 went for a little loop there just as we hit the restart. We'll back it up here. Well, we had it, and then we lost it, so let's try this again. There it is. 3 wide at Martinsville. Does it ever work, Alex?
I have seen it work maybe 1 in 10 times, and this was certainly part of the 9. Contact there, Caleb Gilbert, John Fike. Fike goes around, collects a little bit of Nick Alves.
Yeah, they were 4 wide while he was spinning.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't great. That's for sure. But yeah, Nick Alves, a little bit of that. Cirkovich, though, the big car who got a good bit of that, along with John Fike. We'll take one more look here on board with Alves.
Actually, going back green here, that's how quickly it happens at Martinsville. But there was Nick Alves. He went to the outside of that, just was able to miss it. But back to green flag racing for stage 2, lap 78. Took a little bit longer to get it back cycled. We had an additional 4 laps there to that stage break, and that might help some of these drivers on fuel.
Yeah, a little bit. The estimated fuel window here tonight, probably about 70 to 75 laps. So getting a few extra laps in under yellow can really stretch that window a little bit. So if they're only really getting going now, you might be able to push this thing, say, all the way out to, I don't know, about lap 155, 160. So you're still going to be a little short on your way to the end of this thing after another stop, but it gets you a lot closer if there were to be, some more yellow toward the tail end of this race, or, maybe set you up for just a quick splash and go. It opens up a few more options here, if nothing else.
Grant Thorpe making a pass, trying to get back to where he was. He was in a good scenario there. He worked his way to the top 10, but now back in 11th, and I think pit stops and the execution. We actually have a car on the wall. I think it's John Fike. I think it was a heavy hit with the wall with a 48 as
Johnson's
well.
around.
Johnson's going to hit the wall. He loses a
lost.
ton of ground.
Yeah, he just lost everything that he had really worked on and getting. And that opening stage just slid out of the groove there in 3 and 4. He's to the outside of Grant Thorpe, and there's no rubber up on the outside here. So you'll see as they go down the back straightaway, you know, he gets up there, and there's just nothing to catch him.
Yeah.
Back end
tires.
goes around. Bit of a hard hit, too, into that outside wall.
Never a great feeling. It's almost like driving on black ice. And, well, I say that to you, Alex. I know you're from Florida.
Well, no, I'm not from Florida. I live here now. I am growing up in New Jersey. You get a lot of opportunities to experience, you know, ice on the sidewalk that, you know, makes you regret going outside in the first place. As we've got some bumping and banging for the lead here. Tyler Harrison is sick of sitting behind Carter Lins at the moment. At least it certainly feels that way, because I feel like he's given him a couple shots here since the restart. And that was also the case even before we hit the pit cycle.
That was a great shot out of turn 3. We'll make sure to use it correctly this time. Always great angles here from Dougie Beard.
Yeah, he's got this place looking mighty fine, although this racetrack, I like thinking of it a little bit like a, you know, a Lambeau situation or a Fenway Park or a Wrigley Field, you know, just one of those iconic venues of their respective sport. This place has been here since the start of the sport, and very few tracks can say that, if any. And that's just, you know, it's the nature of the beast, and it's still cool to see these cars whip around here. And it still
At the
puts on some
paperclip.
really fun, yeah, just awesome stuff.
Did you get a chance to watch the Cup race this past week?
Parts of it, yes.
The opening invocation. I don't know if you watched the beginning of these things or not, but the preacher thanked God for the Martinsville hot dogs. So I keep hearing the hype, and after that I think I need to try one. Yeah, I think they're probably.
Well, we're talking about hot dogs. The yellow's out. Oh boy, big wreck. Trevor Erhardt, John Fike, Jacob Sirkovich all got tangled up. And maybe they were thinking about hot dogs too.
Yeah, I think they're brined in holy water. So another spin, and this is multiple incidents for the same guys. And remember what we talked about at the beginning of this race. There is a penalty if you reach that, but I don't see anybody that's playoff contention that's been involved in any of this yet.
It was a lot easier to tell on the old UI before they updated it, but boy, contact there with Erhardt and with Fike. Sirkovich had nowhere to go. Daniel Holloway, very lucky to be able to slide on by to the inside there. Able to avoid that. We'll take one more look at it here on board with Sirkovich. And, you know, Fike's going in there trying to make the dive and just wasn't able to make it stick. The three of them all end up washed up into that outside wall.
So now this kind of puts us in a situation where if you're in the top 10, you're probably going to stay out. If you're outside of it or having struggles with the tires, why not? Come get four fresh ones.
I really think some folks should consider coming down pit road here, because if you pit here, realistically, if you get just, you know, lucky with another, you know, caution at the right time, it's a one-stop race to the end.
Yep.
Like after the pit stop here. It's still going to be a little bit of a stretch, but it's certainly a plausible stretch versus where it was, you know, say 10, 15 laps ago. So I'm curious to see if there are any takers here, particularly at the back of the field, who are going to maybe try to mix things up a little bit, get themselves on some fresher tires compared to the cars in front, but it doesn't seem like it, at least on through the top 10.
Hype is real, though. I just Googled it. Martinsville hot dogs. There's a vendor that's world-renowned as the best hot dogs in the United States.
That's a big claim, man. Americans eat a lot of hot dogs.
But they don't know what's in them.
Nope. And, you know, maybe that's for the best in the grand scheme of things.
Nobody
There'd
knows.
be a lot more people who'd be a little more concerned about having a hot dog if they knew what went into it.
Carter Lenz isn't concerned at all.
No,
All he cares about right now is leading every lap in this race, and that's what he's done so far. Green flag back underway. There he is with 92 of the 93 we've started. 93 out of 94 now. And we're door banging for the lead.
Harrison drives it in deep. Yeah, he's trying to take that spot away on the outside. Easier said than done.
Oh,
Lenz has still got the advantage just temporarily. He's still trying to hold on to him, and Harrison really fighting hard on the outside, trying to make this work. You'll see he's going to drive it in deep here in the 3 and 4. Obviously, the shorter way around is down by that curbing.
He's got the nose advantage this time.
Yeah, that'll be a lap led to Harrison. Just trying to clear him. Can't do it yet.
How much tire wear is he causing, though, running that higher line? We talked about that middle starting to break in as the race went on, but it takes a while, and this is right around that mark. I said 125, we're at lap 96. It's probably not fully there, but it's enough for Harrison to stick to the outside. Another 20 laps, he tries this, he probably clears him.
And he's still fighting. It's been several laps now in this restart, about 4 or 5, where he's just been glued to the outside of Carter Lenz's machine. And I think Harrison not wanting to let it go because he's been stuck behind the 66 so much already tonight, trying to find some way to get that track position, and then he'll be able to be the one trying to do the blocking versus the passing here at Martinsville. The blocking position a much more favorable spot at a place as small as Martinsville. And as all this is happening, Dakota Floyd getting a front row seat from third.
Every time these drivers come out of the corner, it's like a stage light in a drag race. Who can hit the throttle first and get this car to hook up?
Lenz, I think, has finally settled that, at least for now. Boy, he had to really earn it, though. Harrison stayed glued to the outside for about 6 or 7 laps there from that restart to now. Meanwhile, back here, this is Trevor Keith in the 15. He's looking to the inside of Caleb Gilbert in that 54 car. This is that battle for 9th on the racetrack right now. And the 54 is starting to slowly work his way through this field, Bradley. Started 18th tonight. He's now up to 9th.
I believe he said he was here to support his friends. Do his best to support the league and his teammates and everybody that's out here participating for this top 8. But Caleb Gilbert, up and down season. A lot of these guys that are outside of the top 8, you can go back to a specific moment in the season where you say, well, that's why it was such a struggle. Or, you know, historically, that's not what their seasons are like, and it puts them outside looking in. You could even say that about Jeremy Burns, who is in the top 8. He's dominant all the way through the regular season. Now we go playoff racing, and he's had some drought. He's had some technical issues or scheduling issues. There's so many different scenarios throughout this season that you could point to for each one of these drivers to say, this is why the situation is the way it is.
Yeah, for sure. And I know Caleb Gilbert not probably overly thrilled with how this season has gone so far. But he has had some speed in recent weeks. He was top 10 both at New Hampshire and Kansas a couple weeks ago at some of these playoff tracks. And, you know, coming off a 12th last week at Talladega where he gained 13 positions. So, you know, you got to find, if you're not in this sort of playoff 8, every driver has to find a reason for why they're out here. And a lot of times it's just trying to build some momentum going into the next season and, you know, going after one more potential opportunity for the win. Speaking of, yeah, that is a fierce battle here for Rob Rader. You know, that's just a position on the racetrack for Dakota Floyd. That is a very valuable point in the grand scheme of things that he's trying to hold on to right now.
Absolutely is. Position battle for third spot, and Rader slid up into him. You almost saw it again right there out of 3. They're going to stay side by side. Deja vu for what we saw for the lead. They are hugging each other into 1 and 2.
Yeah, they are still side by side, reminiscent of that Harrison and Lenz battle a second ago. This time, though, it's going to be a Rader
crossover.
Nifty over-under from the 57. Dakota Floyd just punched it into the gap there, and now he's on the attack on the inside. That was fast.
Very well done. We'll go back and take a look at that after this battle. Besides, there's a block. They were getting physical here at Martinsville. Another touch on the bumper. Wow.
Yeah,
you think short track racing's happening?
Certainly feels like business is picking up a little bit here on the racetrack. So we'll take one more look at this. This was the move a second ago where Floyd made the move to the inside, and, you know, Rader drove it in a little deep because he knew he had to try to clear him there, and Floyd was able to capitalize on it temporarily. Ultimately, Rader was able to get the spot, but, I mean, that's the kind of moves that you got to be thinking about making here in Martinsville, is the moment you realize you're going the wrong way, how can you flip it back against the car you're racing with? And we've got some fun battling, a little bit of a contact there between the 53 and the 57. Actually put the 53 into the wall a little bit, kind of extended his exit angle. But he'll settle into third, Floyd fourth, Michael Call right now in the top five, as they're starting to put some distance on Orlando back there in sixth. Carter Linz, though, still up the front of this field, looking pretty sharp. And, you know, the big thing that's jumping out to me right now is Jeremy Burns has slipped back to seventh here. And he only was +6 to the cut line after that stage. So not to say that he's in jeopardy of losing that spot yet, but that line's getting mighty close.
Yeah. He's getting himself into a tighter and tighter situation. If he loses another 4 or 5 spots, and this race finishes, if this race finishes the way it finishes right now, he loses 2 or 3. It's gonna be, it's gonna be who was where at that stage.
Right now, he's got currently a 2-point advantage over Tyler Harrison, and that's just because Rob Rader went on by Harrison a second ago. When Harrison was second, it was only a 1-point gap. But Rob Rader now starting to put some pressure on the race leader. Here's the pass that he made for second a moment ago, going around the long way.
Wow. I think Harrison might have used up his tires a little bit there, racing with Linz. But at the same time, you know, Rader was doing the same thing with Dakota Floyd. So I don't know, as we see another lead change here. First time today that we see a commanding lead change. Rob Rader to the top spot. We talked to him pre-race, and he was very adamant that if he had more than a certain amount of incident counts, if he got spun more than once, he was going to park this car. He did not want to risk a penalty at Phoenix. For any driver that was playoff eligible, if they got a 17X and got booted and disqualified, they would have to start at the end of the longest line at Phoenix. So that is a complete contrast to what we're seeing right now. He is pushing this car and taking over the lead halfway through.
It was a little quieter in the opening stage of this race. That car has really come alive, though, over about the past 20 laps or so, as he's now starting to put some distance here on Carter Linz. And now, if you're Linz and Harrison, all of a sudden there is some bigger concern to deal with, because neither one of them in that win and in situation. So now all the eyes are turning to points as we look a little further back. This battle, Parker Johnston and Justin Ritchie. And let's see what happened there just a moment ago.
Looked like the 10 of Stewart got a little bit loose underneath the 48. He was aware of it. I'm going to back this up one more time. Watch here. Coming into the corner, they were peaking almost 3 wide here.
And the 48 up toward the wall. A little bit of contact off of 4. Going to open the door for Justin Ritchie to try to get in there.
And in that span of time, they went right back at it. I couldn't even get the words out. They went right back at it, and this was a little bit of orange speed crime on each other.
Yeah, and this was now Kyle Stewart, who's now been shuffled back. We'll take one more look at it here. Johnston got around Ritchie, and bit of contact in the corner there between the 48 and the 10. Kind of got it in the vulnerable part of the car. Any sort of contact to that left rear corner panel, especially coming on corner exit, can get the car really unbalanced, and that's exactly what happened there to Kyle Stewart. So he'll slip back to 20th now as the last car on the lead lap. And as we're taking a look at the sky cam, this field is spread out enough where there's cars basically on every inch of this racetrack right now.
You can see coming out of turn 4, and then the brake low from the 53 of Rob Rader. It's about half a second rather, separating the top 3. You go back to Dakota Floyd. He's about 7/10 back. Has Michael Call on the back bumper. This is the shakeup for all of it. It was Burns at the stage for the top 4. He falls back to 8th position now. Dakota Floyd, Tyler Harrison, and Carter Lentz still in this top 5. So the situation deteriorating a little bit more each lap for Jeremy Burns. And you got to wonder if he loses 1 or 2. He's got to hope that Floyd, Harrison, those guys start getting passed by a few drivers.
Yeah, that's the concern right now. In his case, he's at least lucky that Rob Rader has gone to the point. But now that we're at the halfway mark, I'm going to do a quick little bit of math up here in the booth to see kind of how the points are running as they sit. And the math overall I'll have for you in just a second. That being said, things are looking incredibly narrow on that cut line right now, with Harrison and Floyd running 4th, 5th, and I think Carter Lentz is now actually going to be leapfrogging Jeremy Burns for that 3rd spot, as it were. So now the cut line is kind of the difference between Burns with Harrison and Floyd.
I don't know if I'm being hypnotized or just seeing things. My monitor might even be malfunctioning, but occasionally I'm seeing an emote pop up here and there in the chat, and just out the corner of my eye, 12 car sideways into the wall.
Justice Murphy, hard hit. And iRacing has deemed him out of the racing line, so this is going to stay green, but man, brutal break for Justice Murphy. He'll drop down to 15th.
Just stepped out on him. Higher damage on the left front. And now the caution is out. Trevor Erhardt involved.
And the 41 just trying to get going here. Opportune caution, particularly for the 12, who have an opportunity now to try to repair some of that damage. And that was also a long enough run where I have a feeling that we'll see a lot of these cars make their way down pit road. And yeah, Trevor Erhardt losing it off of 4. Just trying to corral light contact with that inside wall.
Watch this thing drift out of 4. And just snap free.
Yeah, and he tried catching it. And just a little bit of contact. Could have been worse, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, but that will bring out what I believe is our 4th yellow of the night, counting the stage caution.
So there's Rob Rader leading him into pit road. And there's pit exit with Dakota Floyd making that call I talked about earlier.
That's a big moment here for the 57. He's going to get that track position he was looking for, but again, it's not the final stop of the race. They'll have to come down pit road one more time. And if it's a green flag situation, other cars, if this works for Dakota Floyd, other cars can look at taking 2 tires, and he might have to take 4, which could then, lose all that track position he just gained here. But I don't necessarily blame him. And when that caution came out is where I had done the math of where they were running positionally at the time. Before the caution, when Floyd was running 4th and Burns was running 8th, he was -2 to the cut line, same as Carter Lentz. Or not Carter Lentz, sorry, same as Dakota Floyd and Tyler Harrison. Carter Lentz was actually +7 to the good as things were sitting, so he was in decent shape. Dakota Floyd here trying to get some of that track position, trying to put himself in position, try to win this one here tonight and punch his ticket to Phoenix. And he's got a little bit of separation now over those guys he's battling in points. Rader and Michael Call kind of separating him from Lentz and Harrison.
Back up. side by side. Lap 134. 10 laps past that halfway point. Dakota Floyd on 2 tires. Shot out of a cannon. Matt Green here. Race recap on the top of your screen with Carter Lenz in stage 1. We have just as many lead changes as we do cautions here tonight. And I'm not sure about you, but I think there's some type of correlation there with every time we come down pit road.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it. We've had a couple under green, a couple under yellow, the most recent of which was Dakota Floyd taking it under the yellow. And speaking of which, we're right back under it. Trying to figure out for who it's for. It looks like Kyle Stewart maybe, trying to get back up to speed here.
He hit that apron I was talking about on that curb where it's a little bit higher, and it actually drug the left rear around.
And the nose of that machine got kind of planted a little bit, and just like a door hinge, the back of the car sweeps out into the middle of the racetrack directly in front of Justice Murphy. Take one more look at it here. 12, as well as the 48, as well as the 65, do a good job to avoid. Big moment there for the 10 of Kyle Stewart, who's had a frustrating night, to say the least.
Well, Tia, I hate to do it to you, but we're going to do it one more time. We're going to take another quick commercial break here on V-Speed, the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. We'll be back live and racing at Martinsville. The last race of the round of 8, just before the season finale. Back with more in a moment.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Back here live at Martinsville. Green flag back out. You didn't miss much. You missed one corner, and you missed Dakota Floyd leading another lap just now.
Speaking of missing, Tyler Harrison missed the corner of turns 3 and 4. He washed up the racetrack a little bit. Now he's in a battle with Kevin Orlando Jr. here for 6th, trying to hold on to it. He slipped a couple spots on that last lap. As Dakota Floyd trying to hold on to this lead on the 2-tire call. Rob Rader applying some heavy pressure. He's looking to go around the outside here in 1 and 2, similar to the pass he made on Harrison.
Oh, Rader's sideways. He lost it.
Oh,
Caution's
boy, those
out.
tires had not heated up enough.
He lost it on the exit of 2. He had done that earlier in the race where he got to the outside of Lenz and passed him, but it didn't work that time. There's
think if
one.
he'd given it another lap or so, he may have had enough heat in those tires to make that move work. Just had barely given those tires an opportunity to get up the temp, especially with how cold the racetrack is here today. And you'll see when he tries to get back on the throttle, the back of the car tries to outrun in the front. Also looks like Daniel Holloway might have had some issues at the back of the field there. Yeah, the 53 just lost it coming off the corner. So 2 simultaneous incidents within a couple seconds of each other. Just going to bring out the yellow once again here tonight. Almost a carbon copy of what happened to Rob Rader. Just cold tires, trying to get back to the throttle a little too fast.
Well, that might alleviate a little bit of pressure for Dakota Floyd. He has Michael Call, who's also on 2 tires for this next restart. But now you've got Carter Lenz and Grant Thorpe into the top 5. Kevin Orlando in the 5th position. And we've slowly been watching Kevin Orlando just creep his way closer, as with Grant Thorpe, who's gained 13 positions. That is tough to do at Martinsville.
Yeah, no, we highlighted him when he had gained 4, and then we've lost track of him in the shuffle a little bit, watching some of the battles up front. But this 77 looks really fast tonight. He continues to pick off cars one at a time here, and now sitting just past the halfway point. He's running in 4th, the highest he's been scored all night long, and he's looking ready to try to make some noise up here at the front. We know that 77 sometimes has a little bit of trouble in qualifying as far as 1-lap speed, but when you start giving him some laps to string together, and especially at a place like Martinsville, where everything's such a rhythm, he is really starting to make some good headway.
Tyler Harrison back to 6th position. Jeremy Burns has caught him on the back bumper for this next restart. But it's Dakota Floyd in a good situation, and Rob Rader, who just got loose out of the corner, is back to 14th. Notably, Nick Alves up to the top 10 now, but he's in a must-win situation here tonight. 7th in points. Gonna have to gain 9 spots to get up here and win this thing. Double back up. Still 19 cars on the racetrack. Trevor Keith, 1 lap down. They're Erhardt, the last car on the lead lap with some damage. Into the restart zone. Here we go. Back underway.
Looks like a good launch here for the leaders on the 2-tire call. Floyd and Call settle in 1-2. Lynn, Thorpe, and Harrison. Oh, someone sideways. Justin Ritchie parked at the exit of turn 4. Not sure if he had any help. Nearly made contact with the wall at the exact same place Holloway did at the last yellow. Let's take a look here. Keep your eyes on that 55. He just got up on the curbs.
Apron. Same thing that happened to Stewart a moment ago.
Yeah.
And we'll show you on board here and how difficult this is, especially with traffic in front of you. He cannot see this curb right now with the 26. You got guys you're outside, you're trying not to get into as well.
And, you know, especially on restarts, you know, you're really trying to make sure you time when you get back on the throttle at the right moment. And the closer you get to that apron running the bottom, the better shape you're going to be in. However, you know, the moment you touch it, the odds of you having a problem escalate from 0 to at least 50%. And we've seen that happen a couple times here tonight. It's not a particularly large curb, but it just gets the car so unbalanced with how flat this track is that it does not take much to really get this car to loop around when you're at speed. You see 4 cars coming down pit road here. Stewart, Erhardt, Ritchie, you know, deal with some of that damage. Justice Murphy as well.
Now we're kind of pushing towards that moment of, do we have to pit again? If we come down now under one of these cautions, we might be good to go to the end. And that's going to change the situation for guys like Dakota Floyd and Michael Call, who maybe showed their hand too early on the 2-tire stop, but could afford to come into pit road right now knowing they could take 2. They haven't put much on these left sides since then and could run it out to the end of the race.
It's definitely also a possibility. The big restraint right now, just the fuel window. They could probably get to about lap 225, 230-ish for the folks who just came down pit road. So it's still a bit of a stretch fuel-wise. But that's assuming that every lap is green. You know, if we have some more cautions, you might be able to cycle through, and before you know it, you might be up there. So it is a bit of a balancing act for sure, especially when you have a race that starts as green as this one was. Now that we've had a couple in a row, that that seed of doubt is planted. Like, well, what if it keeps going yellow? Then what do I do fuel-wise? The math was kind of easy when it was green because it's just trying to fill out that window. But if cautions are a possibility at any moment, your strategy would have to shift on a dime.
I think if a caution comes out within the next 10 laps, I'm coming down. I'm going to come down and top off. Especially if you're at the back of this field. Green flag back underway. Grant Thorpe slides into the inside. He's going to look to the left of Michael Call. Carter Lenz clears him for second.
That's a big pass there for Lenz. Gets him some fresh air and the ability to try to track down Dakota Floyd. Grant Thorpe going to be almost clear there off of 4. 77 digging right now, trying to find his way up to third. Not quite there. He's so close to clearing Michael Call. Call, though, really fighting hard on the outside to stay in that battle. And here comes Caleb Gilbert to the inside of Kevin Orlando for 7th.
Harrison able to clear for that 4th position. He's got new company up here in the top 4. 77, who's worked up 14 positions now to the top 3. How frustrating is it, though, for Tyler Harrison? You had a shot at the lead, you couldn't complete the pass, and then the very next restart, you fall out of the top 5. He's been fighting all season, though, and he's been consistent with it. A lot of top 5 finishes, a lot of podium finishes. That all-elusive win for the 45. It could be here tonight.
Yeah, certainly might be. As you see, he's going to try to make something happen here on the back bumper of the 77. Maybe looking to the high side, trying to do what Rob Rader did to him earlier in the race. Not going to go that time by, and we stay single file out for 3rd. Carter Lenz, though. Oh, there's a wreck there at the exit of 4.
It's Trevor Keith. This is where I was talking about. I'm coming down pit road. If I'm in the top 10, this is the time I'm coming in. And if I'm Dakota Floyd, I'm going to do 2 tires again. I'm going to stay in my track position. I think that's the call. We've barely put any green flag laps on this car.
This comes out of a really interesting time. Next time by, it'll be 90 laps to go, including several pacing laps. We know the fuel window probably can get you to about 75 laps or so. With those pacing laps, not really burning that full fuel, gets you close. But yeah, Trevor Keith just lost it off 4, similar to what we saw with Holloway a couple laps ago. Take one more look at it here. 15, just a matter of the back of the car trying to outrun the front. He actually may have got a little bit of that curbing there too, actually going through the middle of the corner.
Yep. Gunfight got a piece of that as well. I guess they don't have the broadcast on. They can't hear me. I would come get full fuel, 2 tires. You can make it to the end of this thing. You can make it all the way to the end.
Oh, Burns thought about it. He dipped in, but then exited before he hit the commitment cone. I think he saw no one else was going. So
that could be the race-winning call. I think the strategy right now, Burns should absolutely do it. I think his pace is probably 5th or 6th place at best. He has not proven to me tonight, and I hate to show that bias, but I don't think he's proven here tonight that he has a car to win this race. He has to do something different than everybody else.
If we're not concerned with new winners, Jeremy Burns should be able to advance to the championship 4 if he finishes in the top 5 tonight. That's guaranteed, regardless of where anyone else finishes. If he finishes about 7th, then we start going into tiebreakers, of which his results this round have not looked great and might lose that tiebreaker to whoever he's battling with. And if it's about 8th on down, then there's multiple positions, if you're Harrison or Floyd, that you could try to take advantage of that. So Burns may be trying to keep that track position right now, knowing that he's kind of on the cusp of where he needs to be. That's a safe spot points-wise. But that's a lot to consider.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
especially when you're trying, not to run the person over in front of you with how tight the quarters are here at Martinsville. Trying to keep an eye on the point situation, especially because you won't know them in real time. Tricky as a driver.
It's been brought to my attention that we've been having slight connection issues here tonight, so I apologize for any of the frame jitters that we've been having. We'll try to get that resolved for you as soon as possible. But right now, as it sits, green flag back underway at Martinsville.
Little brush in the wall there for Linz off of 2. Let's Grant Thorpe dive on in for that second position. And he just might take it here off of turn 4. That 77's a man on a mission right now. He's trying to work his way up to the lead. He's gained 16 spots tonight, and only one car now stands between him and the lead.
We saw this earlier for the lead. Now we're going to see it for the third position. Carter Linz, Tyler Harrison. Harrison to the inside. Still can't clear him off of 4.
Side by side they go again. Harrison looks to be clear now, and he'll take that third spot. Linz falls the 4th, so -2 now on this restart for Carter Linz. Restarted second, he's down the 4th, as Dakota Floyd now being trailed by Grant Thorpe and Tyler Harrison in those podium spots. And Thorpe has closed the distance to the 57. It's a car length coming off of turn 2.
We've seen so much happen in this top 5 all night tonight. It's hard to look away with how quickly things have changed. But now the scenario is looking better and better. I've seen the 45 and his speed. I just wonder if this is how it sets up to the very end of this race. If it stays green, I like Tyler Harrison's tires and what he's done. He can afford to come down pit road and take right sides only and really stretch away from this field. But at the same time, as we see a mistake there from Dakota Floyd, they're going to go side by side. He might just go up here and take the lead now.
Yeah, Grant Thorpe looking to capitalize, puts it to the inside and 1 and 2 right off the corner. Oh, Floyd tagged the wall and the yellow's out.
Oh, that might have saved.
Back,
I think Thorpe got the lead.
That may have just, yeah. Grant Thorpe able to take away the lead at the time of caution. Not entirely sure where this caution came out. It was definitely further back in the field because we were looking at a pretty wide shot at the time.
Well, there's a car on the outside wall, and I think it's the 48.
Yeah, Parker Johnston contact him 1 and 2. Boy, that car just snapped on him. It's also not the first time we've seen that tonight, as it looks like the whole field basically has come down pit road, Bradley. They know they're basically in the window on fuel, even if this thing goes green to the end, and everybody's stopping now.
Gonna have to perfect execution. Dakota Floyd looks like he's gonna have to take 4 tires on. Nope, he's gonna do 2 tires again. All right, maybe they are listening.
Maybe. So Grant Thorpe wins the race off pit road. Floyd goes second, and Linz and Harrison, little extracurriculars off of pit road. I think the 66 got it. Take a look at this as they were exiting pit road. They were both trying to squeeze in there. I thought from the first angle that they made contact. I guess they didn't, but boy, it got real close. Everyone just trying to shoehorn in, so apologies on that. The initial angle made it look like they made contact with how sharp the 66 was making that corner. But alas, that was not the case. But they will not be cycling out to the front. There's a couple of folks who have stayed out here, which is going to be really interesting because they are on varying levels of old tires. If you're Justin Ritchie, it's 11-lap old tires. If you're Justice Murphy, it's 22. If you're Caleb Gilbert, it's 41-lap old tires, which sounds like a lot, but in reality at Martinsville, it's only about 20 miles. So, even if this was like Dover, it'd be like 20 laps. If this was like Michigan, it'd be 10. That being said, still going to be interesting to see how well those tires hold up against a field of really fast race cars who are all on fresh Goodyear Eagles.
Well, I'm still having this issue here with the bandwidth, and I'm pretty certain that it's just an OBS issue, but I have to do something about it. The frame stutter and the faults that I'm getting on YouTube, at any point this broadcast could go down for that reason, and it's probably just a coding error on something that didn't start correctly. Computers are lovely. So after this restart here, we're going to watch these cars go around for just a moment, and we're going to try to fix whatever this issue is. I've never seen my bandwidth dip this low before. As we watch Caleb Gilbert take the restart. Sideways for Grant Thorpe,
around.
77. He's going to lose all that ground. Caution's out.
Absolutely brutal for Grant Thorpe. He had spent 175 laps putting himself in perfect position here tonight, and all of that's gone in an instant. Absolutely brutal.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll watch it back on the replay quickly. But I need to get to the bottom of this issue. Here's the restart. They put Thorpe in a weird situation. There was 2 tires on the outside with the 57. He's getting to the outside of Fike. And the 77 of Thorpe ran into the back of Fike. Lenz gets damage from it.
That he does, and notably Jeremy Burns able to slip on by to the inside, so big playoff implications there with Lenz and with Burns.
Well, it's going to be Caleb Gilbert for another restart. We're at that one, I would say 75 to go mark. Right. Welcome back here. I know a little bit of issues here, and Mike Johnston we're just a little bit backed up. We were trying to fix a technical issue, and if we're creating buffering here tonight, I apologize to anybody. It seems like it's a YouTube technical error. I'm not having any other issues here with the broadcast. Everything in iRacing has been clean, but just kind of a deteriorating upload speed here from my end to the client, and I don't quite know what to do about it. Sometimes you can just kind of restart everything and it cleans itself up, and I think that's not the case, and maybe it has something to do with Martinsville. Every time we restart, it doesn't really clean things up.
Might be. I mean, you know, maybe even YouTube knows that this race is about to get messy and is afraid to see what's going to happen here. While we were taking a brief step away, we were back under the yellow flag for an incident a moment ago between Jeremy Burns and Carter Linz. The two of them were part of a three-wide battle with Caleb Gilbert off of turn 4. Linz and Burns got together, and the two of them ended up, Linz with some notable damage, Burns with a bit of damage. Both of those guys currently only slightly above that cut line. Really puts them in a bit of a precarious spot here as we're getting ready to go with just under 70 laps left.
Justice Murphy up front, 57, has Justin Ritchie in the 55, his teammate, John Fike. There's a little cushion back here for Floyd, but this is the first time today we've seen all the 55 sideways. Another caution here tonight.
I think we're running into the issue of everyone's trying to get back onto the throttle knowing that there's not a whole lot of time left, and everyone on these cold tires is just trying to go for it. And the car just isn't warmed up enough to have the rubber stick to the road, as it were. So we've seen a couple of those here tonight. And that will reshuffle this top 10 once again as Justin Ritchie slides out from inside that top 10. Some contact there with the turn 4 wall. He's battling with John Fike for about the 3rd position on the racetrack, and you can see this car. Actually, no, a little bit of contact with Michael Call. Oh, that's my bad. I thought Ritchie had just kind of lost the back end, but that was a bit of an assisted losing of the back end.
We'll back this up one more time, and I want you to get a real good look at this man right here. His arm is going to fall off. No sooner does he get done waving this flag. Keep watching him. He's working extra hard here this week.
Just a second, though, to wipe the sweat out of his eyes before he's right back to waving that flag as hard as he can. At about a 10-second respite. Barney, the most underappreciated man in all of iRacing, somehow has the ability to wave that flag all day, every day, at every track in the world.
At the same time.
What a guy! What a guy! Might be like a Pokemon Nurse Joy situation where every town just has their own Nurse Joy, and they're all kind of related, and they all have the same name, but they're technically different people. Maybe there's just an infinite amount of cousin Barneys out there in the world waving flags at tracks across the country and across the globe.
I don't know anything about Pokemon. I'm going to be honest with you. That went right over my head.
And that's entirely fair. It's just the only time I could think of an equation that would make sense there. And, you know, this is what happens when we spend too much time talking about Barney and not the race at
race.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got to go green flag for that to be a race. Come on, guys. 191 out of 250. It was clean and green for the first stage. We ran probably an additional 20 laps, and then things started to deteriorate to what we have now, which is 12 cautions, 9 lead changes. Carter Lynn, stage 1 winner. Justice Murphy on the restart. Dakota Floyd trying to get into the final 4. John Fike to the inside. We've got a lot of door touching going into 1.
Everyone trying to wrestle for position right now. Dakota Floyd trying to hold off Michael Call.
Wow.
Big block, big push, and that ricocheted into John Fike. Big wreck. Oh, Raiders around as well. Linz is caught up in it. Man, that wasn't going to work.
I mean, I think Dakota Floyd was a cue ball there.
He was. Michael Call was the
That was a pull shot.
cue. Yeah. He called corner pocket and just launched the 65 into the fence using the 57 as the means of doing so. Take a look here in the 3 and 4. Floyd cleared the 89, big block. Call just gave him a shot just as Fike was trying to come down the racetrack, hill spin. That also got Raider around. Erhardt hit there with Linz, and then I think Fike got tangled up. That might have been with Trevor Erhardt as well. There was multiple components to this wreck just a moment ago. So Johnson and Erhardt, who got kind of tangled up top. Raider and Linz a part of that, same with John Fike. Probably a little bit of damage for the 57 of Floyd as well, and the 9 of Burns, who made some contact there. This is starting to get a little gnarly. Some twisted sheet metal on most of the cars in the field at this point. And this is starting to become a little, most folks still on the lead lap. It's starting to become a little bit of a battle of attrition here. As we are starting to see cars get more aggressive, realizing they're starting to run out of time here tonight.
There you go. He did what he said he was going to do. You still know what I'm talking about?
Yep. We heard from before the race to avoid any potential penalties going into Phoenix. I was going to try to stay out of trouble here tonight. If the incident count was getting close to that DQ limit, was just going to park the car, and I think that's exactly what we just saw there from the 53, because the lights are off on the pace car, so we're going to be going in just a moment. And Rob Raider, not a part of that field, I don't believe. So, never mind. Actually, I do think he's back on the racetrack. I think he was just letting everyone cycle on by. The green flag is going to go back in the air here. Justice Murphy, Dakota Floyd, great launch for the 12. 57 had a bit of a tough time going. Here goes Harrison to the inside for second place through turn 2. They'll be door to door down the back straightaway.
I watched there on that restart, the 12. I don't know. Oh, 45 of Harrison's around. He caught the apron. I don't think Floyd gave him much room there.
And Grant Thorpe's around. Kyle Diaz is around. Turn 4 has just become suddenly a war zone out there for cars trying to get going on this restart. Take another look at the replay. Take a look what happened here between Tyler Harrison and Dakota Floyd. This is where this incident starts. And Harrison was already a little loose coming off of 2. He caught it, gets into 3. That car's still unstable, and a little bit of contact there with Call as Thorpe in an unrelated incident goes around. Same with Daniel Holloway. And multiple cars just crash in here in turns 3 and 4. Take a look here with the onboard.
Trying to get it back to it. There we go.
Here it is. So you see he was a little loose out of turn 2 already. And then this contact here in 3 and 4. Diaz around, Thorpe around, Holloway around. Cars just trying to get to the end of this, and no one's really having the time to keep any sort of heat in the tires because they haven't run more than 1 lap really at speed. Probably the better part of about 20 laps or so, which means that these tires are going to stay cold, which means those kind of issues are going to persist until they can get some heat in the tires. So Thorpe down pit road, same with Erhardt. They're trying to get that damage repaired. And this time around, it'll be 50 laps to go from Martinsville. 50 laps left to decide.
Looks like we're back here live. as we have Alex Gagnon taking over the broadcast. And without warning, he pressed
Yeah.
the go live button and jumped right to the race scene.
Let's it's going to take 1 second here to kind of get everything updated, I think, but we're getting there. So, there we go. All right, we're getting there. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, to be entirely honest with you, you've missed absolutely nothing to the folks at home. And the time that we've been away trying to deal with the technical issues, they have wrecked in turn 1 on back-to-back restarts. We have not even seen a corner of green flag racing since the time we've stepped away, so not that there's ever a good time for technical gremlins, but this is about as good of a time as there's going to be, I guess.
Yeah, the situation could have been a lot worse, and I think for right now, this is the best that we can do for the situation at hand. Checking that stream health right now. I'm actually going to go ahead and refresh that page, but it feels like it's an issue with YouTube right now, and I don't know if you have that metric on your stream or not there.
Yes,
Alex, but
so far we're looking good without any dropped frames, and I'm going to knock on wood that continues to be the case. So we'll jump back up to where things are happening at the moment, I guess. So as things sit right now, Justice Murphy is your race leader. Dakota Floyd scored in second. Michael Call, Jeremy Burns, and Carter Lynn's your top 5. And everyone, and I've just listed in that top 5, has had some sort of issue here tonight in the past about 50 or 60 laps, but there's been so many that they've kind of cycled their way back up to the front already.
Well, based off what I'm seeing so far, we haven't seen the end of it. We've had about 3 or 4 cautions in quick succession here. We're not out of the woods just yet.
That we are not.
Somewhere around 34 to go. Going back green. 12 car into turn 1. Dakota Floyd says, let's drive green for a few laps. I need to get to the outside of this 12 car, and now has the 89 of Michael Call making the pass on the inside.
Nice little battle
Trying to keep
going
things
on
firing.
here. Yeah. Looks like Justice Murphy still got the edge for now. Michael Call, Dakota Floyd settling in there in the top 3 spots. And right now, the big thing that I'm seeing is with Jeremy Burns sitting 6th and Harrison 7th, Dakota Floyd's in a spot to gain a couple of points, but he needs a couple more. He needs to find a way to get around the 89 and the 12 if he wants to advance here tonight. Carter Lynn's right now in a really good spot to try to advance. Same with the 9, unless the 57 or the 45 start getting on their horse here in a minute.
Justice Murphy, commanding lead right now with 30 laps to go. 12 car looking for a win this season. Dakota Floyd also looking for that all-elusive win. Carter Lynn's damage on the front end, still ahead. Jeremy Burns in 5th position. We went through the numbers a couple times here tonight, but it's progressively working itself towards we might just have the same names into the final 4 that we started tonight with.
It certainly feels like a possibility, even after all the chaos, all the battling, all the swaps for the lead. But for right now, all eyes turn to race leader Justice Murphy, who's starting to open up that advantage a little bit over Call and Floyd. The 12 has done a good job of keeping his nose relatively clean tonight, and he is sitting in a really good spot right now with about 27, 28 laps to go.
So it's back on lap 118 that we went back green. And I'm sure race control was talking to a lot of these guys, saying we need to finish this thing out. There's no reason for drivers that are outside of this top 8 in the playoffs to be racing as hard as they have been here tonight. Yeah, it's great to come out here and experience this, but sometimes you're interfering with the outcome of a race, you know, with 2 or 3 cautions in a row. Sometimes you got to know the situation. And there was a long talk there in that last caution about it.
Yeah, sounds like it. Now I'm looking. Here's 3 of these guys in that playoff battle. Lins, Burns, Harrison, nose to tail, 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're trying to track down Dakota Floyd. These 4 have really not gotten all that separated here tonight. And if they were to finish where they run right now, Carter Lins and Jeremy Burns would be in the advantageous position of advancing to the championship 4. So Harrison's going to try to move the 9 out of the way, trying to find a way to advance as Harrison, or not, sorry, that was Burns who clipped the wall. Harrison's to the inside here. This is that battle for the 5th position on the racetrack right now. Into turns 3 and 4 again. The gap now expanding from the 45 to the 9 as Harrison looks to try to reel in Carter Lins for the 4th spot. Both of those incredibly important points. You know, it drops the person you're trying to chase down a point, gives you a point, so it's a 2-point swing. Both the Burns and then the Lins, if the 45 can make that work. He needs a little bit more than that, but it's a requirement really at this point with only 20 laps to go out there and try to grab that spot.
Yeah, he needs to get around these next 2 guys, for sure. He needs to get around both of them. But preferably, he needs to go up and win the race. And I think Floyd's in the same boat right now. He needs to go up there and take the lead.
And right now, you see he's in the 3rd spot. However, you can see he has got a long way to go to reach Michael Call. He's about a half a corner behind him. And Michael Call, he's starting to reel in race leader Justice Murphy. That gap, only about half a second right now. The 12 doing what he's doing. Both of them on, you know, they both had a 4-tire stop the last time they came down. However, Justice Murphy on 20-lap older tires. Does he have enough in the tank here to hold on for the win?
And I'm jumping back here to this battle between Lins and Harrison again. Harrison looking to the outside going into turn 3. He was all over the back bumper there as they came out of turn 2. He ran into the back of him twice.
Yeah, Harrison knows the urgency of the situation. He is trying to get by the 66. It's been a battle for him all night long to try to do exactly that. Lins and Harrison have been basically glued to each other since the drop of the green flag here this evening. And now, just over 15 laps to go in this one. He's still trying to knock down the back bumper, still trying to find a way past the 66. And they're working their way through a little bit of lap traffic. See Parker Johnston trying to stay to the inside of the racetrack, and that let Harrison get to the bumper and gives the 66 a tap once again.
I think they actually made a little contact with that lap car as they went by. They were hugging it so tight that Harrison thought maybe he could make that over-under move as they passed, and he couldn't. He made contact with the 48. He's going to try the outside again. Battle behind him. That's actually the lap down car. The 9's going to clear there. Johnston way off the pace here.
He's just trying to get to the end of this thing as more cars battling for position there. Back up here, Carter Lins, another shot from Tyler Harrison. The 45 knocks on the door again. At some point, he's going to find a way to either open the door or he's going to fall back. Another tap into turn 1. These 2 guys getting really physical for P4 on the racetrack right now. You got to be careful here because as much as you want the spot, if you miss it and you go around, that all but kills your chance at advancing to the championship 4. It's a very much a risk-reward thing right now.
I think the situation that Harrison's in right now, he has to go for it. He has to throw a Hail Mary, not a Hail Melon. That we do not want that here. That is a rule here. And I asked before the race, Alex, before we even got into this thing, is there a rule against wall riding on the last lap? Absolutely. They're not even allowed to do it in practice. What a shot there.
Man, they are just going after it right now, these 2. They continue to beat the doors off each other. Lynn's just planting that car right now in the 4th spot. Harrison cannot find a way by. There's not been a lack of effort, though, as he continues to hammer on the back bumper at the 66. They're making some time to Dakota Floyd. The problem is all of them are losing touch. The race leader is Justice Murphy is opening up that gap up front.
And that's allowed the 9 to catch back up to these 2 as well. Lynn's maybe holding up Harrison a little bit. He's going to try to move him out of the way one more time, but man, Lynn's has done a fantastic job of not faltering at all. It's not even working.
Yeah, no, this has been an incredibly stout defense here from the 66. The stage winner in position to advance to the championship.
Wow.
4
How
point.
hard do you need to hit him? He finally got him.
Yeah, I mean, that was a full lock up there. The 45 just drove it in there. Harrison trying to beat his way past the 66. Lynn's now to the outside, side by side off of turn 4. Boy, it is not going to be an easy pass here. Lynn's is making him work for every inch of racetrack.
Lynn's falls back to the 5th position. What a battle here from Martinsville for the 4th spot. But I still don't think it's going to be enough for Harrison. He needs a caution to come out so he can try to take it to the lead in these closing laps. I don't know if he's going to get it.
No, I don't think he is either.
Maybe back here with the 15 of Keith and the 27 of Orlando. It's tight racing back here.
Yeah, you got ourselves a little bit of a battle here, but there's only a couple laps to go, and I have a feeling a lot of these guys do not want to be the reason that a late race yellow comes out. Don't want to be the eye of that scrutiny as they're trying to sort this thing out. Orlando and Richie side by side for 10th as they run.
And Rob Rader came back out on the racetrack with 5 laps to go. Rader's putting some risk here in the section of the racetrack he's in right now. If any one of these guys make a mistake, he can risk getting that penalty. At Phoenix,
Whoa.
He's going to actually get loose off of 2.
That was a big moment there for Rob Rader. Nearly lost it coming off of turn 2. Orlando back to the inside of Richie. Rapidly running out of time in this one. 4 laps to go. Harrison and Floyd are reaching each other, and they're making some time on the leader, but they are simply out of laps to really make something happen here. And at the rate we're going, they are not going to be able to advance with the way these points sit, to my understanding.
Carter Land's getting that stage win. Might have just locked himself all the way to Phoenix. But you know Harrison's still going to move Floyd out of the way. He's done it once. He's going to do it again.
Yeah,
Floyd trying to get away from him.
Yeah, they're working past
Here we
John
go.
Fike here with 2 laps to go. That's the battle for the last spot of the podium. However, Floyd able to get around Fike, get some distance to Harrison as we're coming around to the
Yeah.
white flag, this time presented by Erhardt Homes.
Love where you live. The 12 of Justice Murphy. Gonna find himself in a great situation in the closing laps. He has 99 laps on this stint with these tires, and he's gonna find his way to victory lane in the second to last race of the season. Justice Murphy, victorious at Martinsville.
What a drive for the 12. Those tires held up 99 laps. He had pit a little bit more recently for fuel, but man, oh man, what a drive for the 12. Michael Call and Dakota Floyd going to be your podium. Floyd was able to hold on over Tyler Harrison, but with Carter Lynn's Jeremy Burns finishing just behind him, I do believe, unofficially, that will set Lynn's and Burns into the championship 4, but we will wait to hear official word on that from race control here at Racing Revolution.
Well, we have a lot to talk about, but the first thing we need to talk about is we hit that slow motion button. Watch this burn down on the front stretch with Justice Murphy. We need to talk about the victory lane. That's the takeaway here tonight, is the first win of the season for the 12.
Yeah, big win and a great way to be bringing the season to a close with a win here that he had to go out there and earn on those old tires, man. Michael Call kept them honest, but the 12 was able to get it done. Win number 1 on the year could not have come at a better time for Justice Murphy.
And I think people pulling Justice Murphy around here. So trying to grab a hold of him. We've got him now. Justice Murphy It's victory lane for you. Tell you what, this one was never a give me for anybody out on this racetrack. It was as much of a wild card here as it was at Talladega last week, but you found it. You got up here. Victory lane, congratulations. You mixed things up here at a short track.
Oh, I thought my race was done when I spun out behind Nick. I hit the wall. I had left front wheel damage. I got it all fixed, and I was trying every way I could to scheme Tyler up front. I wanted him so bad to win, to be able to compete next week with TK for that championship bid. But I got out front there, and then it just kind of caution after caution. I ended up in the right fuel scenario, and Tyler unfortunately kind of got in a bad spot, spun, and tried to work his way back. He got up to fourth, but I had such a long gap there. He just never could get back to me.
I think I heard the sponsors pinging you there just now, Justice.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I've had a few. I barely crossed the line, and that thing started dinging. So that was always good.
Well, let's go back. You said you had wheel damage. Do you think that happened to come down pit road and repair this car on repeat for, I mean, man, we had a quick succession of cautions. I think we strung together 6 before we even got to the checkered, the start finish line. But do you think that maybe puts you on a sequence to get into this situation?
It put me on a sequence to cycle forward at some point. I never thought I would make it on fuel. I pitted on lap 151.
Yeah, almost 100 laps, I think.
Yeah, I ran right at 100 to the end, and it kept narrowing the gap down on fuel. But as it was happening, I told Tyler, I said, hey, if we get to lap 170 and get a caution, you need to pit because then you're good on fuel. And I said, I don't know how many others have calculated it out, and they all ended up pitting. And then we kind of had the weird situation. I don't know if Caleb missed his shift. He had that happen a couple times tonight, but got up in the marbles. Me and Richie kind of get by, and then I just inherited the lead and restart after restart. I mean, we got on one, and I didn't even make it to the start-finish line on the restart, and we were already back under yellow. So lucky circumstance, but felt like I maybe proved it a little at the end there. I think I ran the fastest lap 5 laps in a row on that last run when we went green.
When you go back to the beginning of this race where we ran it clean all the way through stage 1, what a contrast. Everything changed so quickly. What do you think the recipe was that maybe the catalyst that created that?
It was weird. I thought it would be basically with 100 to go, but it started, we had 20 or 30 laps in after the stage, and Rob had worked his way back forward, kind of spun, and then after that, it can be kind of hectic. You have guys that are in the back that haven't been there and mixed with guys that have been, that have damage. And once you start mixing tire, fuel, damage all together, this is kind of how this one goes. So never again, I never would have thought I was going to make it that far on fuel. Especially after, we ran enough green flag laps. I thought at some point it's just going to go green. I thought we would probably run 50 or so to the end, but ended up with that. I guess it was about 30 or so when we finally did. But yeah, just a weird mix of things going on. You have to have a perfect scenario for it to go that off the rails.
Well, it doesn't really matter, all of that. I know I asked you all of those questions, but really what I meant to ask you was, how does it feel to be victorious in season number 5 of Racing Revolution in the Chapman Cup Series?
God, I haven't won since the Talladega Fall Race in 23. And of course, I've run this scheme since September, and it's a picture of, it's an Alzheimer's awareness scheme, and a picture of me and my mom, and she passed back in September, and I told her I would get that car in victory lane one way or the other. So hopefully, I know she's looking down smiling, I'm sure, right about now.
Definitely looking down, and definitely maybe influencing this. I think that when you drive for a purpose every week and something like that, you make a promise like that, it's always kept. We've seen a lot of moments like that here on V-Speed. That one's special. And Justice, again, congratulations. I know that you were a sponsor here in the series with All About Bugs, but particularly with the Alzheimer's awareness race. And we thank you for coming up here in the booth and talking to us. If you go back and read the chat at some point here in this broadcast, I just want you to know that it was all in fun. And I might have said something. So
hey, I'm
see it
here for
around.
the good time, guys. It'll be okay.
All righty then. Well, anybody you got to shout out while we have you up here?
Yeah. You guys, week in, week out, I think put on a great show for us and make it interesting in times where we can make the racing a little boring. Shout out, of course, to All About Bugs, so the car sponsor. My teammates over at Lightning Fast Motorsports. I know Tyler's super disappointed, wanted to get to the Final Four. Has had a really strong season, but we'll be pushing everything we can this next week to help TK get there. Jacob, still a member on his way out at the end of the year, but still part of that. The guys over at Rolling Thunder, Matt, Trevor, Daniel, and Parker, Michael Call has been a part of that as well now for a bit. Chapman Environmental Services, Enginuity, Coastal Financial, Erhardt Homes, all the great series sponsors we've had throughout the season, throughout the years, make this possible. So that hopefully about wraps those shout outs up.
Again, congratulations. Hopefully this momentum carries on to Phoenix and beyond to season number 6. Appreciate you coming up here and talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Justice Murphy, victorious at Martinsville. The paperclip continues to change things in this season. Looking at this final race results, though, in just a moment, we'll have the rest of your top 3 with Michael Call and Dakota Floyd. I'm sure when we talk to Dakota Floyd, it's going to be one of those, man, without official word, I don't know what this situation looks like here, but we're going to take a quick break here. You're looking at that top 10. We're going to take a quick commercial break, though, and get the rest of those race results for you and try to get official points or at least an official word on where everything stands going in to Phoenix. You're watching the Chapman Cup Series live on V-Speed. More coverage right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time.
Back here live for Racing Revolution at Martinsville, the last race of the round of 8. And the next driver we're going to bring up into the broadcast booth, and Michael Call in the number 89. We're doing things a little bit out of order here tonight, but let's be honest, everything was a little out of order at the second half of this race. Things fell apart very, very quickly. And with a race that started out clean and green, people got put off cycle, and you capitalized on every one of those situations. You started in 5th. I think you were in the top 5 for most of the night, but really you capitalized on the chaos, and congratulations. I mean, this is another great race for you.
Yeah, no, it was a good race. I haven't been on my sim for a while. I've actually been working like crazy, 12-hour shifts the last couple of weeks. So I kind of just hopped on late and barely made it into practice. And I was surprised I qualified 5th. And no, it was a good race. I mean, you always get cautions at Martinsville, and it's just kind of product of the racetrack. That you got 4, technically had 4 guys trying to fill 2 spots. So things are going to get a little wild.
Well, let's go back to the beginning of this race where it was clean and green. Did you feel like if it continued on that trend that, you said you haven't been on the sim here as consistent as you would like to be, do you think that would have maybe played a role and maybe get you outside the top 5 from that starting spot?
I don't know. Rob and I had a really good battle there in the stage for, I think it was 4th, 5th, or 6th around there. And I kind of got back into the groove probably about lap 30 to 40 of the stage is when I finally got like back used to the sim wheel. But no, I don't think it would have. I would have loved for it to go green. I'd love to see green flag pit stops at Martinsville. That would be amazing. That would be really cool to see. But no, I think it was even with the cautions, the racing was fine in my opinion. I mean, yeah, there was some rough whatever. I mean, it's short. Like Denny Hamlin says, it's just short track racing.
I think he said it here, actually.
Yeah, he did say it here. He did. And it's just product of it. Like I turned Justin Ritchie. It wasn't intentional. I drove in there and there was a hole, and then all of a sudden the hole was gone. And I lifted and did everything I could not to, but I was already committed. So it, not intentional. It's just kind of product of trying to get whatever you can on restarts when you know there's going to be another caution right within a lap. So you're just trying to gain everything you can, and mistakes happen.
I believe you said it on previous broadcasts and your podium interviews that you've become part of a group of people and improved massively, just
Yes.
driving and learning from everyone around you. And that's really what it comes down to. And this is what the tail end of the season is for drivers that didn't maybe make that final cut for every 16 to 8 or to 12 to 8 and now to the final 4. Now it's about building for next year. How do you feel this race went for that?
It was really good. I want to say congrats to Justice. I gave him everything I could. I had 4 fresh tires, 20 lap fresher tires, and I was locking the left front up. I was downshifting early, trying to get the car loose to drive in the corner. I was doing everything I could to try to roll him in. And man, I really wish I was in the playoffs with the playoffs run I've had. I don't think there's been only a couple of races where I've finished, I think, outside the top 5 or 10. So the playoff run for me, even though not being in the playoffs, has been very good. And I credit all of that to Lightning Fast and Rolling Thunder Racing. I mean, without them, they have stepped my game up immensely. And just having a group of people that want to succeed around you is a big motive, like a big deal. You know, it makes you want to do better and learn and be better and run better. And ever since hanging out with Justice and everybody on Lightning Fast and everybody on Rolling Thunder, I've done that. And so I credit all of these decent finishes that I've got to talk to you guys and to them, because it's been pretty incredible.
We appreciate you coming up here and talking to us, Michael Call, and we look forward to seeing you at Phoenix in just a week's time, November 5th. Till then, man, take care.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
There you have it. Second place finisher. He led one lap here tonight, and starting in fifth, I know he fought hard. He's been fighting harder and harder every single week, and the statistic he just dropped, nothing outside the top 10 in the postseason. So he's already got that mindset, Alex, of a playoff driver.
Yeah, he really does. And I mean, he's had that kind of that speed throughout the year. It's just been kind of inconsistent at the start, but to his point, it's really been noticeable over the past few weeks where we've been seeing these guys in the round of 12, round of 8 duking it out up front, and Michael Call has been right a part of it every step of the way. It's really impressive to see the level of consistency and the level of speed that he's brought in, week out over about the past 2 months or so.
We have one final driver to talk through, and while you're going to do that, Alex, down on pit road, you've caught up with Dakota Floyd. I'm going to go look for official words on what the situation is.
Sounds good. Hey there, Dakota, got a copy?
I sure do.
I tell you what a scrappy race it was here tonight in Martinsville. I mean, you were battling with just about everybody in the playoff picture here for, the lead, second, third, fourth, anywhere really in this top 5 grouping. Ultimately coming home with a third place day after leading 37 laps. How did it feel out there? And what was your mindset kind of going through the race tonight, knowing that you needed to not only put together one of your better races of the season, but maybe get a little bit of help from the other folks you were battling with in the points?
I think coming into tonight, I definitely just had to drive aggressive, but I couldn't put myself in a position where I was going to get wrecked by another car on the track. And I think we did a really good job at that. I think we needed one or two more. We needed to win the stage for sure, and needed a couple more bonus points, I think, and we missed out on a couple. But I think overall, I think it was a good race. It was a good attempt. I just gave it everything I have and just came up just short.
And it really feels like the theme of the season for you has been finding a way to constantly put yourself in the podium, in the top 5 picture week in, week out. And, we're able to do that again here today. Only one more race coming up this season, though, and I've heard unofficially it might be just a couple points on the wrong side of that line. And if that were to be the case, what is your mindset going into Phoenix, knowing, all of a sudden kind of all the playoff pressure per se is off, and one more opportunity to go out there and make an impact?
Yeah, I think we just go to Phoenix, have a clean race, finish the season on a high note. Maybe try to sneak a win, try to give those playoff guys something to sweat about, fight each other a little bit harder, and like I said, we'll just end the season on a high note, and we'll start looking forward to next season, start prepping.
All righty, well, Dakota, yeah, I can understand the little bit of the frustration, but still a good run for you here tonight. Is there anyone you'd like to shout out on your podium finish?
Yeah, definitely. Always got to shout out the team first and foremost. It's been a long season for us, and we've put a lot of good races together, and those guys have been phenomenal to run with all season long, and we've learned a bunch from each other. It's just been a great time, and I'm really looking forward to next season with these guys. Shout out to the league. I really appreciate them bringing us on this season. It's been phenomenal racing. It was a little rough at the start of the season. I can't lie. It was a little rough for us, but I think once we got about midway through the season, everything cleaned up, and I think everyone just got comfortable running around us, and we are all starting to figure out each other's driving styles. So I can't thank everybody here enough for racing me clean, racing me hard. Sometimes a little harder than I'd like, but it's racing. It's what you got to expect. And I want to shout out you guys at V-Speed for always giving us fantastic shows. And got one more to do, but you guys do a phenomenal job. And thank you to all the sponsors that keep this ship running. And thank you to everyone that supported me all season.
All righty. Well, Dakota, thank you so much for dropping by the booth here. Congrats on that third place run here today, and we will catch you next week at the season finale.
Dakota,
Absolutely.
congrats on the top 5 here as well. That is as close as it gets, and to see the guy that you're 2 points out from there, that is that says a lot about your season.
Yeah, the whole season has been consistent. I think I went and looked at it. I think I had 18 top. I think I finished half the season in the top 5, so I can't ask for better than that. And almost being able to knock Jeremy out of the final 4 when that man has 10 wins and I don't have a single one. I mean, that was as close as I could get, but he definitely deserves it for as good as a season he's had.
Couldn't agree more, man. That was a close one. Appreciate you coming up here with us.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Sorry to hijack your interview there. I know I got official word, I think about the same time he did. That is surreal.
Yeah.
And you go back to Jeremy Burns stringing together, 4 or 5 wins in a row almost. I think the first 10 races of the season, he had 60% of it.
Yeah, he won 6 of the opening 10 or 6 of the opening 11. I mean, the dude was on a tear. And I guess it's time to let the folks know officially at home, because they don't know the official Final Four. We were just talking to Dakota when we found out that It sounds like he was on the outside looking in. But if you want to run down our championship 4, feel free.
Well, officially here on the top 4, we have Rob Rader and Trevor Keith, of course, locked in. But it's Carter Lenz and Jeremy Burns by 3 and 2 points above that cut line. Dakota Floyd 2 out, Tyler Harrison -4. Nick Alves never could get it going here tonight. But man, it was tight. Everything in that stage set this up. We were talking about how Burns was 8 above the cut line coming in to this race. And with him falling out on that stage 1 and being as back far as he was, and all of the top 4 were drivers that were in contention for this, I mean, it tightened everything up. We didn't know the outcome, and with all those cautions, it was hard to figure it all out, Alex.
Yeah, it really was. I don't know if there's a better way to describe it other than, we were keeping an eye on the points as it was going, and it was getting really tight. At one point, we had talked about the fact that Jeremy Burns, as long as he kind of finished in the top 5, was going to be good. And if he finished like 6th or 7th, it was going to be interesting, but probably doable. And, well, a 6th place finish is going to get him exactly that. He did it. But boy, it was up for debate for a little while there.
Yeah.
Especially if Dakota Floyd or Tyler Harrison was able to find another spot or two. But that sets our field. The 4-time champ, the guy with 10 wins this year, Carter Lenz, who has been phenomenal the back half of the season, and Trevor Keith, who barely made his way into the playoffs and has just scrapped his way round after round, and now he's in the championship 4.
And Phoenix being one of those racetracks where Jeremy Burns got a victory earlier this year, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, which will play big into his approach, I'm sure, into next week. But with that, I guess it's time to take a look at tonight's final results before we talk about the fact that this is the second to last race of the year. We've only got one more after it. But your results on your screen here. Justice Murphy, of course, his first win of the season, picked up the win here tonight. Michael Call, Dakota Floyd, we talked to as well on the podium. Tyler Harrison will come up 4 points short of the championship 4 with a 4th place run here tonight. Carter Lenz and Jeremy Burns will punch their ticket with a 5th and 6th place finish here tonight. Kyle Diaz will finish 7th. Trevor Keith in 8th, also ahead of Rob Rader, and Caleb Gilbert will round out your top 10.
Going back here to 11th position, you've got Justin Ritchie in the 55, Kevin Orlando Jr., who had a lot of success in the beginning of this race. Daniel Holloway will finish in 13th. Good recovery for him. Grant Thorpe, man, how many positions did he gain? He ends up only gaining 3 at the end of this thing, but he had been up in the top 3. He was competing for a win. Kyle Stewart, a rough night for him. John Fike also in that rocky and choppy water, and Parker Johnston, Nick Alves. Man, Nick Alves, just early exit for him in the 24. You'd like this weekend to go for him a little bit better. Trevor Erhardt in the 41 is going to be 19th. And then you have Jacob Sirkovich in 20th, who took a very early exit in this race in the 5 car to round out your field. Well, Alex, it was another great broadcast. I know this race went kind of both ways. It was, for lack of a better term, it was a little bipolar, I think, is what we would call it. And it changed very, very quickly. The weather, the outcome, the whole track can go that way at any given moment. And you never really know when it's going to kind of set off.
No, you really don't. But that is just about all that we've got here tonight. And with that, that leaves us with just one more race to go this season. It'll be time for some championship racing at Phoenix. 4 drivers and 1 chance to raise the title. Is it going to be Rob Rader going 5 in a row? Or will we finally get our first new champion in the Chapman Cup Series? It's gonna be a wild one. I have no doubt, Bradley.
Got 4 drivers. Last race, Rob Rader, Trevor Keith, Carter Lenz, and Jeremy Burns all gonna square off here at this 1 mile oval out in the desert. You can tune in here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on V-Speed. We've had flag-to-flag coverage all season long. We almost broke that string here tonight, but we're gonna keep it going all the way to the season finale. Again, 10 or 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for everybody here at V-Speed that helped make this possible and Racing Revolution. My co-commentator Alex Gagnon, our camera provider here tonight, Dougie Beard. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Martinsville. It's championship week next week. Stay tracking, everybody.